Right. So why people even talk like he the best at? He didn't even fight at 135 yet.
Right.
He didn't. He didn't even have power at 126, 30, or none of that.
He is good.
Okay. How can you? All that's just okay.
Think when's that fight between him and Teofimo Lopez if they fight?
If they fight, I think Shakur win. I think Shakur wins.
This reason, Teofimo Lopez, we've seen him at his best, but he typically brings out his best characteristics when he's back against the wall and he's counted out. And he's going to be counted out in this fight. By and large, people are going to side with Shakur in this fight to win the fight because he's the more consistent fighter, he's the more class fighter overall.
Boxing pros had mixed views before the fight between Shakur Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez. Gervonta Davis sounded upset when talking about Stevenson. He asked why people call Stevenson a champion before he proves himself at the top level. Davis said a name or hype means nothing in big fights. He added that real respect comes only after you face and beat the best fighters in the ring.
Some of your 135 contemporaries have a lot to say these days. Shakur Stevenson, well, of course, he's now 135 after all that stuff, and then Devin Haney.
Right. So why people even talk like he the best at? He didn't even fight at 135 yet.
Right.
He didn't. He didn't even have power at 126, 30, or none of that.
He is good.
Okay. How can you? All that's just okay. How can you stop people that can actually hit? No matter all that boxing, you going to get hit. What you gonna do when you get hit?
Paulie Malignaggi and Chris Algieri talk about the upcoming fight and share their thoughts on both fighters. Paulie says Lopez often gets criticized and is sometimes overlooked because Stevenson is more famous and has more fans. Many people naturally think Stevenson has the advantage. But Paulie explains that fight night is when names and hype don't matter. He believes Lopez can step up and surprise everyone. Paulie predicts Lopez will rise to the moment, show his strength and skill, and prove on the big stage that he can compete at the highest level and possibly beat Stevenson clearly.
With this situation, because Teofimo is at his most dangerous when he's counted out, and this is going to be one of those fights where he's going to be counted out because Shakur is looked at by and large as the guy who can dominate boxing in this generation, right? If it's just a matter of him getting the opportunity. I myself have felt that he's the guy who could and should be dominating boxing if he gets the right matchups. But bro, this is one of the rare matchups, if not maybe the only matchup, where I feel like is a big threat here to Shakur. And then they would all come undone only because of this reason. Teofimo Lopez, we've seen him at his best, but he typically brings out his best characteristics when he's back against the wall and he's counted out. And he's going to be counted out in this fight. By and large, people are going to side with Shakur in this fight to win the fight because he's the more consistent fighter, he's the more class fighter overall, and he's just so damn good. But Teofimo has a way, when you're so damn good and he knows you're so damn good and everybody feels like you're going to beat him, there's just something about Teofimo, man. He brings out a different level and somehow supersedes that guy who is that damn good. I've seen it. We've seen it already. I'm not saying anything that anybody else hasn't already seen, okay? I'm just stipulating it. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know who wins this fight. Because again, your better head says Shakur, but then you think about, man, Teofimo. Again,
he's got the X factor.
What I just explained.
He's got the talent to
I'm telling you right now.
Yeah.
Shakur is extremely talented and could be the face of boxing as far as being that good and being that dominant, even though no matter how good you are. But this is one of the rare fights where you can get beat. And I don't ever want to hear any of you tank nut huggers that he fights one Uber driver after another. If Shakur Stevenson loses this fight, I don't ever want to hear any of you saying, oh, well, what about Shakur now? Tank this, tank that. Tank fights the guy that delivers my pizza. He fights the guys in the back that are doing the production. He fights the truck driver. I don't want to hear because he would never have gone near Teofimo Lopez.
Lamont Roach feels confident about Shakur Stevenson's control in the ring. He sees this fight as calm and steady, not wild or confusing. Roach believes Stevenson controls the pace from the start by using smart distance and timing, forcing opponents to fight at an uncomfortable speed. He says Stevenson can read movements and stop attacks, which would limit Teofimo Lopez's power and explosiveness. In Roach's view, the fight would not become a war. Instead, it would show how skill and discipline can stop aggression, with Stevenson staying in control while Lopez struggles to find openings or build momentum.
Right. Okay. Okay, cool.
But and doing that, and so I was always going to fight this year. He knew that too. I was always going to fight this year. It was going to be either like a tune-up or something before I fought him if we were
Gotcha.
to get that together.
So who do you think wins that fight between him and Teofimo Lopez if they fight?
If they fight, I think Shakur wins. I think
Why?
Shakur wins. And I don't think it's going to be like a super tough fight either. I think he just, his IQ will frustrate him. And
But wow, don't you think T.O. has also good ring IQ and also is slick, fast,
I think so.
explosive?
But when you look at T.O.'s performances against guys that are just pure boxers, it's just like he almost lost to Sandor Martin. Some people thought he lost to Sandor Martin. Who else?
He did beat Loma, who's arguably at the time considered one
Hell
of the
yeah,
best in the
he
world.
did, and that a
He
hell
did
of a
that.
performance too. A hell of a performance too. So yeah, I mean, I think he's hit or miss. You got to think he got stuff. He a little cuckoo too. Like he has like a little mental lapses every once in a while. Look at the Kambosos fight. Like that's a fight that people would never expect Kambosos to win, and he won a grueling match against him as well. So I just I don't know. I don't think he can get it done against Shakur when it comes to like because it's gonna be just a skill match. I don't think he's gonna try to or he's gonna try to rough Shakur up, and it's probably not gonna work.
Roy Jones Jr. looks at this fight as a test of preparation, not reputation. He says Lopez cannot lose focus against someone like Stevenson. Jones explains that Stevenson does best when opponents hesitate or make mistakes, quickly punishing them with clean shots and smart movement. He warns that if Lopez is not sharp and disciplined, Stevenson will slowly wear him down with accuracy and control. Jones respects Lopez's talent but says talent alone is not enough. Against a careful fighter like Stevenson, every round counts, and once Stevenson gains momentum, it is very hard to stop.
Stylistically, man, how does Shakur beat T.O. and vice versa? Stylistically, how does T.O. beat Shakur?
Stylistically, T.O. got to go in and go for broke. He got to go gamble. He got to take some, get some, and that's just the only way to win. If he stays outside and boxes, Shakur going to pick him apart. Shakur's a polished boxer with some of the best feet in the game right now, and he's a defensive-minded fighter, which is very smart. It's hard to hit him. He makes you gamble to hit him, and he's going to be a tough one to deal with. But if Teofimo is willing to gamble to beat him, then Teofimo can definitely make it a really good fight.
Rolly Romero sees the fight as a true 50-50 matchup. He says both fighters are already champions and have proven themselves against top competition. Romero believes neither Stevenson nor Lopez is weaker in skill. Instead, he points to their different styles, saying the fight could go either way based on who controls the action first. He feels the outcome will depend on timing, confidence, and smart decisions, not a big skill gap. Romero adds that since both are world-class fighters, what happens during the fight may matter more than what people expect before it starts.
I think it's a great fight.
Yeah.
I think it's a great fight. You'll really see, because at the end of it, they're both Olympians. They're both multi-division world champions. Tio is an incredible fighter, and Shakur is an incredible fighter. Shakur has a really high boxing IQ and a very. Shakur coming out with I'm telling you, it's got to be a good fight. I like to see it.
Gary Russell focuses on the best version of Teofimo Lopez, not just Lopez in general. He points to Lopez's fight against Lomachenko as the perfect example. Russell says when Lopez applies pressure while staying calm, he is very hard to beat. In that form, Lopez controls the center of the ring, forces action his way, and does not let opponents reset. Russell believes that if Lopez brings that same energy and confidence, he can disrupt Shakur Stevenson's rhythm and stop him from getting comfortable. He does not deny Stevenson's skill, but says Lopez has shown he can rise to big challenges when fully focused.
Typically, how does it play out in the ring?
It's 50-50. In order for you to participate in this sport, you gotta have a high level of confidence. I feel like both of them has a high level of confidence, Teofimo Lopez and Shakur Stevenson, but styles make fights. Naturally, I think Teofimo Lopez is stronger than Shakur. Naturally, I think he has more athleticism than Shakur, and he got a good IQ on the sport itself. But Shakur, I feel like he's a more smarter fighter. He's a more technical fighter. I'm not saying that he's a square or he's just a textbook fighter, but he's seasoned, he's poised. I feel like mentally he's more mature. Like, he don't go outside of the boundaries on taking risks. So a lot of times you'll see him fight somebody that could be stiff competition, and it'll wind up being a born fight to a degree. You know, that's why everybody was criticizing him for, oh, he's a born fighter. He's a careful fighter. And I feel like with Teofimo Lopez, he's going to be a careful fighter. You know, just because he's a careful fighter doesn't mean that he isn't punctual with how he do things. I think Shakur, he got a lot in his arsenal that he can use to make him be victorious, as well as Teofimo Lopez. You know what I mean? So it's a 50-50 fight, and it depends on what fighters show up the night of the fight. Right. You know, but if I had to give you my whole honest truth, if Teofimo Lopez show up and is ready to fight just like how he fought Lomachenko, he'll win.
Some analysts break the fight down by looking at physical strengths. They say Lopez has more raw power, which could matter during exchanges and near the ropes. Stevenson, however, is praised for his speed, especially his footwork and quick hands. Analysts believe this makes the fight very even because each fighter has skills that can cancel out the other. Power can slow movement, while speed can avoid hard shots. This turns the fight into a smart, strategic battle instead of a wild brawl. They say the fighter who uses his physical edge best will control the pace and flow of the fight.
Great defensive fighter, very good offensive fighter. The difference between the two, for me, I think that Teofimo might be a little bit stronger of the two. But, you know, speed can sometimes nullify power.
Right. It depends on if you can use your speed to get you from round to round, as opposed to avoiding that.
Teddy Atlas defends both Shakur Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez from past criticism. He says people once accused them of avoiding tough fights, but that idea no longer makes sense. Atlas explains that both fighters are now taking hard matchups that many did not expect, and they deserve respect for that. He admits some fans may doubt how exciting the fight will be, but says excitement is not only about chaos. This fight promises high-level skill and smart boxing. Atlas points to Shakur's recent performance, praising how he mixed pressure with movement, controlled space, fought well inside, and punished mistakes from any distance. To Atlas, this fight shows the true art of boxing, not just flash and noise.
And Teofimo, at certain spots, he's avoiding this guy, he's avoiding that guy. You can't take those shots at these two guys. Definitely can't now. They are stepping up, and they are taking fights that a lot of people are probably surprised they took. Now, a lot of people will say style-wise, Teddy, style-wise, is this going to be a great fight? I don't know if it will. I mean, style-wise, I could see you having a little reservations, you know, whether or not these guys will make for dynamite. They will make, you know, for electricity. I don't know if they will, but I'll tell you what they will make for. Two skillful fighters, two talented fighters, you know, two fighters that are at a high skill level that will compete in the sweet science. I mean, Shakur showed aggression in his last fight against Cepeda, you know, being elusive while being aggressive. You know, walking them down, fighting on the inside, you know, boxing well, still being able to counter, still being able to control space, but also be able to go into tight quarters and not be afraid to show that he's good on the inside too, that he can make you miss and make you pay outside and inside. Shakur showed that. That was great. That was great, and people applaud him. I applaud him. We were sitting there ringside. I was sitting there actually with your sister, ringside, watching that fight. And it was a terrific performance. Shakur showing that dimension, showing that attitude, showing that competitiveness, showing that dog like people like to show or like to talk about, and they wanted to see in Shakur.
Timothy Bradley warns people not to underestimate Teofimo Lopez. He says this will not be an easy fight for Stevenson, even if Stevenson is more technical. Bradley explains that Lopez is unpredictable and confident, which can trouble even very disciplined fighters. He says Lopez makes his own choices in the ring and can change the fight in unexpected ways. This makes Lopez dangerous because he does not follow set patterns. Bradley believes Stevenson will need to stay alert and adjust quickly, not just rely on basic skills, because Lopez can break the usual rules at any moment.
Nope, it ain't gonna be an easy fight. Nope. After studying freaking Lopez yesterday, man, look, that athleticism that he got, that speed that he got, the boy is a what's the name I'm looking for? What can I say? He's autonomous. That's the word I'm looking for. He's an autonomous fighter. Okay? What does that mean, autonomous fighter, Tim? Shakur is too. Just like Floyd is. Just like Crawford is. Just like Inoue is. You know, young fighters want to get to that point in their career where they become autonomous fighters. Okay? Where you don't need no damn instructions. You don't need no guidance. You know how to figure it out. Your fundamentals are so damn sound that you got skills now built on top of those fundamentals. Now it's second nature for you. You know what I'm saying? You didn't see the same patterns and rhythms and styles and so on and so forth that it's second nature. It's nothing for you. These guys can operate without any damn instructions, without being told what to do. That's how great these dudes are. Or I should say good they are. They still got to prove they great, right? But, you know, look, the thing that surprised me about T.O. last night after watching him, man, is that his speed and quickness and how fast he's able to strike. Look, I'm going to tell you where he's going. Because I watched a little bit of Shakur last night. He going to Shakur's body.
Analyst Henry sees the Lopez versus Stevenson fight as one that brings out the best in Teofimo Lopez. He says Lopez performs at his highest level when facing top opponents, and his true potential depends on who he is fighting. Even though Lopez has lost before, Henry believes those losses do not define him. This matchup could show the best version of Lopez yet. Henry also notes that Stevenson is undefeated and very consistent. Both fighters are the same age in their prime, and have similar size, which makes the fight even more risky and exciting. To Henry, this fight is dangerous for both men because it tests their skill, ability to adjust, and mindset at the highest level.
Teofimo Lopez needs opponents like Shakur Stevenson because they are elite fighters. He needs that to bring out the very best in him. I just can't see how it's possible that whilst Teofimo, we've seen a ceiling with him in terms of he's been beaten by certain opponents, we know that he can lose in the ring. But I don't know if that's a genuine ceiling, because I think that his ceiling is actually one of the most changeable in boxing based on who's in front of him. And so actually, I think there's a very, very good chance we're going to see the best possible version of Teofimo Lopez in the ring against Shakur Stevenson. But we should talk about Shakur Stevenson before we get into the nuts and bolts of the fight, what it might look like, and why it is so risky for both men. Now, Shakur Stevenson is currently undefeated. He's 24-0 with 11 KOs. He turned pro back in 2017. He's the same age as Teofimo Lopez at 28 years old, both men in their athletic primes. He's 5'8". These are on paper heights, so potentially a little bit shorter. He could even be a bit taller than Teofimo Lopez. I really need to see them next to each other to make that assessment. No lifts in the shoes, all that stuff. But around the same size is the most important thing. The difference, though, with Shakur Stevenson is he's actually a 3-weight division world champion, and he started a division lower than Teofimo Lopez, meaning naturally it would appear that he's slightly the smaller man. Although that doesn't necessarily mean they're now not the same size. He could easily have filled out to be roughly the same size as Teofimo Lopez is on the night in the ring. Now, for me, I'm going to jump back to 2021 to first start talking about Shakur Stevenson, when he managed to get a win over Jamel Herring. Again, he'd had significant wins before this fight, but it was the first one where I really tuned into his career. Notable wins had already come against Joet Gonzalez, Jeremiah Nakathila, but no one that was really a household name. Maybe Joet Gonzalez. No giant names. Jamel Herring was the first one where I was like, I know who Jamel Herring is. He beat Carl Frampton. He beat Lamont Roach. This is a very, very decent operator. And what can I say? I mean, Shakur Stevenson just absolutely dominated him and TKO'd him in the 10th round of their fight. But this was a really, really landmark standout performance from Shakur Stevenson. The talent was there for all to see. Everybody could tell this was a serious professional fighter.
That's all for today's video. Stay tuned for the next one.